Just when Meghan Markle thought she had a monopoly on the podcast world, here comes Cresa Bonus with a brand new project that has immediately captured the attention of many. Why? Because who will be the guest? None other than Princess Eugenie, Meghan's cousin, known for being diplomatic and humble. Why did Eugenie choose this podcast and not Meghan's long-planned project? Cresa's podcast titled Lessons from Our Mothers has become the talk of the town as it's set to launch on March 30th, perfectly aligned with the UK's Mother's Day celebration. What makes this podcast so intriguing? Because Cresa shares in-depth conversations about the role of mothers in life, a topic that is sure to touch the hearts of many. Who will be joining this heartfelt series? It turns out, Cresa is not just inviting big stars like Kate Winslet and Giovanna Fletcher, but also an equally iconic figure, Mary Berry, the famous chef. However, what really steals the spotlight is Princess Eugenie's appearance as a special guest. Why did Eugenie choose to speak about her mother, Sarah Ferguson, on this podcast and not on Meghan's long-planned project? In a twist full of drama, Eugenie has opted to share her insights on Cresa's podcast instead of Confessions of a Female Founder, which was intended to be hosted by Meghan. What's really happening behind the scenes? Could this be a sign of tension between two cousins who were once very close? Cresa Bonus, an actress and socialite who once dated Prince Harry, is certainly no newcomer to the podcast world. With her previous podcast Fear Itself, which explored personal fears and anxieties, Cresa is clearly not a beginner in this space. How has she managed to draw the attention of so many A-listers to join her podcast project? Meanwhile, Meghan Markle is preparing to launch her own podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, in April. In this series, Meghan will delve into the successes and challenges faced by female entrepreneurs. But will this podcast create the impact she hopes for, or will it fall short compared to Cresa's more sentimental project? So, how is the public reacting to both podcasts? Many speculate that Meghan's podcast will bring the energy of "I was never allowed to have a voice in the royal family," but is that enough to capture global attention? Or could Cresa, who emphasizes love and nostalgia, end up being the more loved choice? Princess Eugenie's decision to share her insights with Cresa is also quite surprising, considering their past relationship with Meghan. What lies behind Eugenie's choice? Is there tension between the two cousins, or is this merely a coincidence? On the other hand, Cresa's podcast launch clearly shows how competitive the podcast world has become. With so many celebrities involved in a more universal theme, Lessons from Our Mothers could end up being discussed more than Meghan's podcast. Why could this be? What differentiates the approach both women are taking towards their audience? Of course, we cannot ignore the fact that both podcasts tell stories about women's struggles and achievements. But do the themes discussed in both podcasts truly resonate with people, or do they simply widen the gap between those seeking authenticity and those looking for sensationalism? For Cresa, this podcast is an opportunity to gain recognition outside of the entertainment world. By inviting celebrity guests with large followings, Cresa shows that she's not just someone familiar with the media world but also someone who can create space for more profound conversations about life. What will we learn from their stories? In the end, even though both podcasts focus on women's roles and the power of motherhood, the public can't help but compare these two very different approaches. Why has Cresa succeeded in attracting attention with a more personal concept, while Meghan seems to be struggling to draw in an audience? Is it just a matter of time before one of them becomes the public's favorite? Of course, the podcast world is vast, and both have room to grow. However, after all the drama and intrigue, one thing is certain: both will surely leave their mark on the entertainment and media world. So, who will be more successful? Only time will tell.